imagine this. Your body holds a key that wasn't built by human hands, nor given by religious teachers, nor revealed in any sacred book. A key inscribed in your biological architecture from the very beginning of your existence. A key that, when activated, awakens something most have forgotten. The ancients called this life force by many names: prana, chi, ruach, divine breath. Today, modern science describes it with a more technical name, bioelectric energy. But in reality, they're all talking about the same thing: the invisible force that sustains life. And even though that flow is present in every cell, in most people it already lies dormant. Why? Because we've broken the bond with nature, with gravity, with the sacred movement our bodies were designed for. We are vertical beings, bridges between heaven and earth. We were created to hang, to climb, to suspend ourselves, to expand. And yet we live hunched over, sitting, compressed, bent over screens that take us away from the sky. Our spine, that axis that supports both the body and consciousness, has become rigid, blocked, disconnected from its original purpose. And with it, also the energy that was supposed to rise through its center. But here's the surprising thing. The ancients knew it. Civilizations separated by oceans and millennia shared the same gesture, the same bodily intuition: to hang. 1 minute, just one? It might seem like a trivial movement, but within that apparent simplicity lies a cosmic principle. When the spine is freed, the spirit remembers its direction. By suspending the body, gravity ceases to be an enemy and becomes an ally. The weight that once oppressed you now aligns you. The central energy axis, that invisible channel that supports your identity, your clarity, and your inner strength, reopens. And here, something extraordinary happens. You're not just stretching muscles, you're freeing the pillar where vital energy rises. The Taoists called it the Dudumai channel. The yogis knew it as Sushumna. The ancient Mesoamerican healers called it the spinal serpent. Different names, one single truth: life rises up the spine. And when the spine is blocked, life comes to a halt. Hanging is a direct, natural, and powerful way to give the body back its space, the breath back its depth, and consciousness back its connection. Because when you free the spine, you also free the mind. And when the mind is freed, energy starts to flow again. This video is not just a simple physical routine, it's an exploration of the space between body and spirit, between science and mystery. You're going to discover why hanging for 1 minute a day can literally reconfigure your energy. We'll see how ancient cultures discovered this secret, how modern neuroscience is beginning to confirm it, and how your body can once again become a vibrant temple of living energy. If you're here, it's not a coincidence. Maybe your body has been trying to remind you of this knowledge for a long time. Maybe your soul already knew that something in you needed space to breathe again. Get ready, this is not an exercise, it's a return to your original architecture. To understand why something as simple as hanging can awaken the life force, we need to go back thousands of years to a time when humans still remembered their intimate relationship with the earth. Look at animals in their natural state: monkeys, felines, birds that sleep hanging from branches. For them, hanging is not a technique, it's an instinct. Gravity's not a burden, it's a teacher. We, on the other hand, have turned it into an enemy. We associate it with tiredness, with old age, with the weight of the day. But the ancient sages saw in it a channel of liberation. In the Taoist traditions of ancient China, there was an essential principle. The spine is the bridge between heaven and earth. The human body was understood as a living tree. The pelvis was the root, the skull the crown, and the spine the trunk through which the sap of life ascended. When that trunk hardened, the energy stopped flowing. That's why there was the practice known as the dragon suspension, where the practitioner suspended their body weight to allow the energy to ascend without blockage. Meanwhile, in India, yogis spoke of Kundalini, the sleeping serpent at the base of the spine, which only awakens when the central channel is free. The practice of hanging was not just physical, it was an act of surrender and trust in the life force. And in Mesoamerica, Toltec healers used suspension as an energetic adjustment, a ritual to shake off the invisible knots of the soul and restore the body's original flow. They said that whoever learns to suspend their body also learns to suspend their mind. The ancients said that the soul could return to its center when the body stopped supporting its own weight. They said for the spirit to rise, first the spine must remember how to flow. And the most fascinating thing is that those words, spoken thousands of years ago in different languages and cultures, shared the same truth. None of those civilizations knew each other. There was no exchange of ideas, there was no direct communication. However, they all reached the same conclusion. The spine is a spiritual antenna, and for the energy to flow, the antenna must be free, flexible, and receptive. It wasn't a coincidence, it was ancestral memory. But our modern life did the opposite. We have become hunched beings, not just physically, but emotionally as well. We carry weight on our shoulders. We tense our neck. We compress our chest. The diaphragm hardens. Breathing becomes shallow. And the vital energy gets trapped like a river contained by invisible stones. And although modern medicine usually divides the human being into parts, muscles, nerves, bones, organs, ancient traditions understood it as a complete symphony. Body, mind, and energy are a single orchestra, playing the same melody. When one string is too tight, the whole harmony is disturbed. That's why hanging was an exercise. It was a ritual, an act of surrender to gravity, a subtle medicine that reminded the body how to feel internal space again, lightness, openness. It wasn't a physical practice, it was a prayer of the body. Today, while millions search for increasingly complex techniques to raise their vibration, ancient wisdom whispers something we've forgotten. Sometimes the deepest things are the simplest. To understand why hanging awakens the life force, first you have to understand what the life force is. It's not a spiritual metaphor, it's a biological, energetic, and perceptual reality. In Eastern traditions, they called it ki, prana, sejam, ruach, chi, its, and although each culture used a different name,
Distinto, la esencia era la misma.
The current that sustains life. It's what keeps you breathing when you're not thinking about breathing, what drives your pulse, your metabolism, and your consciousness. But that energy doesn't move by itself. It needs a channel, an axis, a living structure to guide it. That channel is your spine. The spine is not just bone and cartilage. It's a bioelectric highway, a vertical antenna that connects the sky and the earth within you. Inside it runs the spinal cord, the master cable of the nervous system, the bridge between what you feel and what you do, between what you imagine and what you manifest. When that structure is compressed by stress, fear, trauma, or rigid postures, the flow slows down. And not just the physical flow of blood or nerves, but also the flow of the internal energetic breath. That invisible fire the ancients called the sleeping serpent or the divine breath. When that flow is blocked, we feel it, even if we can't explain it. We feel it as discouragement, mental heaviness, a stiff back, shortness of breath, sadness without cause, apathy toward what once inspired us. We say we're tired, but really our energy just stops flowing. And this is where hanging comes in. Such a simple gesture that it seems impossible for it to be so powerful, but it is. When you hang, even if it's just for a minute, 3 profound transformations happen. 1. Release from gravity. All day long, gravity pushes you down, compressing your spinal structure. Each vertebra bears the weight of your history, your thoughts, your unresolved emotions. When you hang, you reverse the effect. The discs expand, the nerves breathe, the muscles release, the body stops holding and starts supporting. It's like you open up an internal space, a chamber of silence inside you, where energy can move freely again. The body remembers its original form, free, open, connected. 2. Activation of the vagus nerve and the parasympathetic system. The human body only heals when it feels safe. When you hang and breathe slowly, the nervous system interprets that gesture as a sign of trust. The heart slows down, the mind calms, inflammation and anxiety decrease. It's not magic, it's neurophysiology. But what if you opened your body to silence?
Esencial, cuando el cuerpo
Feel
baja, el alma vuelve
as your body hangs.
a abrir la puerta del templo.
Slowly, the nervous system synchronizes with the earth, and the silence that appears is not emptiness, it's presence. 3. Awakening of the diaphragm and the pelvic floor. The vital force, the creative sexual energy at the base of life itself, resides in the root, at the base of your spine. There lies the center that sustains your existence, the point where the sky descends and the earth rises. When you hang, you naturally activate the deep muscles of internal support, the diaphragm, and the pelvic floor. These two gateways are the guardians of the energy flow. When they contract out of fear or tension, the energy cannot rise. But when they relax, the current rises spontaneously. The ancients knew that unlocking these gateways was the first step of awakening. The body becomes an open vessel and life begins to flow upward. Like a flame that remembers its origin, it's not just about hanging the body, but about allowing the energy suspended within you to move again. That minute of suspension becomes a ritual, a form of surrender, and a reunion with your life force. Suspending yourself is a way of telling life, I will no longer fight against you. Teach me to flow with you. If the diaphragm is blocked, breathing becomes shallow, and shallow breathing means a shallow mind. When the pelvic floor is weak or rigid, the vital impulse doesn't rise, the current of life gets trapped in the roots. Hanging gently retrains both centers. And when these two gateways, the diaphragm and the pelvic floor, begin to harmonize, the energy rises, not like a mystical explosion, nor as an immediate enlightenment, but like a slow fire that begins to remember its way upward. It's a silent awakening, a biological memory that reactivates cell by cell, breath after breath. At that point, it's no longer just about posture or breathing. It's about allowing life to flow again from the inside out. When you hang, even if it's just for a few seconds, your body sends a deep message. I no longer have to carry the weight of the world. And in that moment, the soul that had been held back remembers its original direction. To truly understand the scope of this practice, we must look beyond physical anatomy and enter the subtle field, where body, mind, and energy communicate in the same vibrational language. The act of hanging creates a suspension not only of body weight, but also of the internal rhythm we have built. Through years of effort, fear, and control, we spend our lives trying to hold everything up, our responsibilities, our emotions, even our masks. But when the body is suspended for a moment, the habit of holding on stops, the unconscious holding. And it is precisely in that pause where vital energy finds space to move again. The channel of consciousness. The spine is not just a bony structure, it is a living channel, an axis through which information from the nervous system circulates. But also, as the ancient sages taught, it is the conduit through which vital force rises, consciousness itself. The constant compression, a result of a sedentary lifestyle, chronic stress, and suppressed emotions, restricts the flow of that energy. And when the channel closes, what was once inspiration becomes inertia, what was passion turns into fatigue, and what was creativity fades away. In a mental fog, hanging gently lengthens that channel without straining the body, inviting it to remember. And when the channel is freed, something invisible but real happens. The retained energy begins to reorganize, flowing toward higher regions, the heart, the throat, the head, where perceptions change and the mind becomes clear. Some feel it as a light tingling, others as a wave of heat or a current that slowly rises. There are those who simply feel a peace that expands from the chest throughout the whole body. None of this is accidental. Physical unblocking allows emotional energy to be released as well. Free the body, free the soul. Tension in the shoulders, chest, or jaw is the body's language. It's screaming to release emotions that couldn't be expressed. Every tense muscle is a sentence we didn't say, a tear we held back, a fear we're still holding on to. When you hang, you're not just stretching fibers, you're opening the door between your body and your inner world. That's why so many people cry, laugh, or sigh deeply. After doing so, the soul takes advantage of the crack in the silence to speak again. Nervous system reconfiguration. On a physiological level, suspension activates the parasympathetic system, the body's healing mode. The heart slows down, blood pressure drops, and the mind becomes quiet. The body interprets that position as permission to rest, and in that deep rest, energy reorganizes itself. The mind, accustomed to rapid automatic thinking, finds a coherent rhythm. It's as if the internal noise diminishes until only a clear frequency remains, like a calm pulse that unites breath, heart, and consciousness. And in that state, an unmistakable feeling arises. I have returned to my center. The body, freed from its role as armor, becomes a temple again, the key to physical and spiritual awakening. The ancient traditions knew it. You can't expand your consciousness if your body is compressed. You can't open your heart if your breathing is blocked. You can't listen to your intuition if your nervous system is in constant defense mode. That's why hanging, more than just a technique, is a key that opens the door to internal alignment, where the body and energy start speaking the same language again. Hanging is not an act of strength, but of surrender. It's not about dominating the body, but about allowing it to remember its natural flow. In that brief suspension, the human being rediscovers a profound truth: vital energy. No, it never disappeared. It was just waiting for a little space to move again. This practice needs no temples or rituals, just consistency, attention, and presence. 1 minute daily, a simple surrender to gravity, a reminder that
y presencia. 1 minuto al día, un gesto de rendición ante la gravedad, un recordatorio silencioso
that you don't have to hold everything. That minute may seem insignificant, but over time, the body starts to change. The mind calms down. Sleep gets better, the soul feels lighter, and one day, without knowing exactly when, you notice that something inside you has awakened. You no longer fight against life, you flow with it. And you understand that the key was never outside, it was always within your own body. I've discovered that the ideal thing is to find a place where you can do it without interruptions. It could be a bar at home, a sturdy tree branch, or a simple support fixed to a wall. You don't need a temple or a gym, just a space where your body feels safe. What's important is not the physical environment, but the inner atmosphere you create. An environment that invites calm, conscious breathing, and a reconnection with your energy. The first piece of advice I learned through my own practice is to start little by little. It's not about straining while you hang or trying to create resistance. Start with 20 or 30 seconds, just enough for your body to explore the feeling of letting go. Let gravity do the work. Let your spine remember how to lengthen. Let your muscles relearn the art of letting go. As days go by, allow the time to expand naturally, without goals, without demands. Your body will show you when it's enough, because when you listen to it, your body always knows. The second tip is to breathe deeply while you hang. Inhale through your nose, feeling the air go down to your abdomen. Exhale through your mouth, allowing your whole body to relax. Breathing is the bridge between physical movement and emotional release. If you breathe mindfully, hanging stops being a mechanical action and becomes a practice of expanding awareness. The third tip is to bring full attention to the act. Before you hang, pause for a moment. Close your eyes. Feel your body from within. Observe how you are without judging. And when you finish, take another moment to notice what has changed. It can be subtle, a lightness, a warmth, a new silence, but something always transforms. A tension dissolves, an emotion softens, a thought stops spinning. Finally, remember something essential. The power of this practice is cumulative. Day after day, minute after minute, it rebuilds your relationship with your own energy. You're not looking for results, quick results. You're reclaiming presence, and presence is the root of all real transformation over time. Over time, you'll notice changes that go far beyond the body. Your posture changes, your breathing becomes deeper, your mind becomes clearer. But more importantly, you'll feel a new inner stability, as if something deep inside you has awakened and is finally supporting you from within. Hanging for a minute is not just a physical movement, it's a living metaphor for what it means to remember yourself. The spiritual meaning of the gesture. When we reach the end of this journey, we understand that this simple act of hanging is not just an exercise or a curious technique. It is a key that connects body and vital energy, physical structure, and expanded consciousness. For most of modern life, we have inhabited a compressed body, an architecture designed for the world, movement that has been tamed by immobility. Chairs, screens, repetitive routines disconnect us from our sacred verticality. We shrink not only in posture, but in spirit. The back and shoulders become the silent witnesses of what we carry. Unresolved tensions, contained emotions, thoughts that won't stop. Shallow breathing reflects a soul that has forgotten how to trust. But when you hang even for a minute, you confront that pattern. You dismantle it from the ground up. Suspension frees the spine, that axis which is both physical and energetic, and restores its natural length, its ability to be a channel between heaven and earth. And when the body aligns, the breath descends, the air no longer stays in the chest and reaches all the way down to the root. That single gesture tells the nervous system you can rest. The body enters restoration mode, the heart beats slower, the mind becomes still, and in that silence something is rearranged. Not only do the muscles relax, but the mind also relaxes. Thoughts become clearer, the rush dissolves. You discover that calmness is not something you have to achieve, but something that appears when you stop resisting. By allowing the energy to flow again from the base of the spine to the heart and the head, you regain a quality of presence that you rarely experience in everyday life, and that presence can be felt. It's not abstract. It's not an idea. It's a tangible vibration, a gentle warmth, an unexpected mental clarity, a sense of silent completeness. You're not adding anything new to yourself. You're removing what was unnecessary, the noise, the tension, the disconnection. That's why this practice was considered in many cultures as a tool for returning to the center, a reminder that the unity of presence, body, emotion, and consciousness doesn't need to be built, it just needs to be remembered. Every time you hang, even if it's just for a minute, you remind your body that you are not alone. You remind it that the earth supports it from below and the sky calls it from above. That gesture of surrendering to gravity is also a spiritual statement. I trust in life. I don't need to hold everything by myself. And in that moment, the body stops being a burden and becomes a channel. The spine becomes a river of energy again, the breath a prayer, and you a living bridge between matter and spirit. In the end, hanging is not escaping from the world, it's returning to it from another level of consciousness. Freer, lighter, more yourself. The final invitation is not simply for you to adopt this exercise as a physical routine, but to see it as a daily reminder of your power to return to yourself. You don't need long hours of training or complicated techniques to reconnect with the source. You only need a moment of honesty with your body, a minute of silence in which you allow yourself to listen to your body speak in its own language. When you hang for a minute, you're doing more than just releasing your back. You're making a silent statement to the universe. I'm here, I'm alive, I inhabit my body, and I breathe my existence. That simple gesture contains profound wisdom. In a world that pushes us to run, to perform, to hold on, you choose to stop, let go, and trust. And in that trust, the body remembers what the mind had forgotten. That life never stopped, it was just waiting for you to give it space to move again. If you practice consistently, you'll notice that not only your posture changes, it changes the way you hold yourself emotionally in the world. Your breath becomes your anchor, your spine, your axis of clarity, and your vital energy begins to respond with gratitude, as if waking up from a long sleep. Every day offers you that opportunity. A minute to return to yourself. A minute to let go of what doesn't belong to you. A minute to remember that vitality doesn't come from the outside, but from the way you inhabit your own temple. That minute becomes a threshold between noise and silence, between attention and expansion, between forgetting and remembering. And when you suspend your body, you also suspend the weight of your masks, your fears, your old stories. For a moment, you are simply energy flowing, consciousness breathing within a human form. There, at that exact point between the earth that supports you and the sky that calls you, you understand that the key to awakening was always within you. It wasn't in a doctrine or a secret technique, but in the humble act of letting go. 1 minute, just 1 minute each day to allow it, to let life come back in, to remember that your inner strength was never lost. It was just waiting for you to listen to it. Now you know how to release your vital energy, but what you'll discover in the next video will multiply its power tenfold. It's the missing piece to understand how to use that energy to create your reality. Don't leave it for later. Your body has already awakened. Now your mind needs to do it too. Click and continue the process before this vibration dissipates.